Oh, the chairs are coming back together, so you know we're about to wrap up in a big way.
Our final session of Unstoppable Africa 2025 is about to begin, and we're calling it the Diamond Session. Why?
We're calling it the Diamond Session because we have the biggest galaxy of stars that we could assemble in New York, and they're all coming to talk to us right here.
Yes.
That's not the right answer.
It's an eclectic, brilliant group of speakers. We've got a world-renowned chef, a pioneering inventor,
Right.
Africa's youngest climate activist, a Paralympic world record holder, and they're here to answer one question. What will you do to make Africa unstoppable? Please join us in welcoming to the stage.
All right, put your hands together. We're going to need a big round of applause as they come back on the stage. You ready? Are y'all ready?
Come on,
Okay.
Miss Ava DuVernay, director, screenwriter, and producer. Mr. Marcus Samuelson, a chef, restaurateur, and author. Corporal Eliane Wanjiku, Africa's youngest climate finance and health champion. Mr. Pumelelo Tevin Mlongo, Paralympic champion. And the icon of Afrobeats, Tiwa Savage.
Right here.
Thank you so very much. What a star-studded lineup, isn't it, Larry? My God, thank you all so much for being here. Why don't we start with the youngest voice on this panel, Eliane.
Hello there.
Welcome back.
Thank you very much.
What makes Africa unstoppable for you?
To me, what makes Unstoppable Africa is me. And the other people who are, yes, the other people who are who are my generation and who are my age. We are the youth dividend. We're the people who innovate, we're the people who make these changes, who have these brains booming with these ideas and this knowledge, but we need the opportunity. But we make Unstoppable Africa unstoppable Africa. We are the ones who make the difference. We are the ones who create that culture, who post the culture on TikTok, who post it online and let the world know who Africa really is. That's what makes Unstoppable Africa Africa.
Amazing.
Wonderful.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
If our future is in the hands of her generation, we're going to be all right? Y'all feel that? We're going to be all right. All right, Tiwa, you fly the flag of Africa so beautifully around the world when you're performing. We are getting noticed. We are bringing joy to the world. And thank you for doing that and representing us so beautifully around the world. For you, as you go out there spreading that joy, what makes Africa unstoppable? Why are you out there for us?
Wow, okay, so I'm going to make this really quick because I know we don't have much time, but hello, everyone. I'm going to speak in particular about my industry, which is the music industry, and we all see what's happening with, Afrobeat, which is really the fastest growing genre in the world right now. And we kind of created it with nothing.
Right.
With no support, no infrastructure, no real belief, even I would say from our own people, like initially. I remember growing up in London, I was not happy being African, but now I'm so proud, one, because of, how big Afrobeat is growing. But there was a conversation at one point where it was just like, Afrobeat is gonna have its 15 minutes of fame and it's gonna fade away. And we're still here. Like
Billion streams.
We are still here. We're not slowing down. In fact, we're filling out stadiums. We're getting the biggest songs on the charts right now. And I don't know how true this still is, but apparently 1 in every 4 black men is like a Nigerian or an African.
Right.
So we're not going anywhere. As much as they try to quiet us down, like we are not, the music is not going anywhere. We are Africans and we are unstoppable. I always say, they should be careful if they let us through the door, because as Africans, once they let us through the door, we break everything down and we own everything. we own everything. So for me, that's the power of being African and being an African woman.
Right. Yes.
and being unstoppable.
Amazing, incredible.
That's
you,
incredible.
Tiwa.
Yes,
Thank you.
one in every 5 black men is Nigerian, black people. So yes.
Well, I knew it was Nigerian, but I didn't want you guys to feel bad. So
Okay, Nigeria.
Nigeria de
Let's
carry
calm
last
down a
door.
little bit here. Let me. Okay, Marcus. Listen. Yeah, what is that? There you go.
The DSG also.
Yes, Marcus. Let me come to you. First of all, thank you for that delicious jollof rice. As you know, as a Senegalese Guinean, I was impressed because you know jollof is originally from
Senegal.
Can we have a jollof rice? The Nigerians like the jollof rice. Where's Ghana? Is Ghana jollof good? But Senegal, that's where it's from.
I was impressed.
That's a big
Thank
deal.
you.
If the Senegalese person liked it, if the
Yeah.
So thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you. Marcus, what is the key ingredient to make Africa unstoppable?
Well, I would say very much so like Afrobeat and its music. For me, it's around changing the narrative around food, right? Because we have all 54, 55 countries, but within the countries, we at least have 20 different cuisines each, right? And changing the narrative around African cuisine around the world is the fastest, West African food is the fastest growing trend in the US, right? But it's all about normalizing it and standardizing it. And, you know, for me, coming from Ethiopia, there's so much we can do with teff, which is underutilized.
Right.
There is so much we can do with millet. And it's about, everyone in this room knows about Italian food. Not only about Italian food, but regions about Italian food. If you ask the average person about African food that is not from Africa, they think it's all monolithic. So our job is to create both a pipeline of talent. That's why we have a school in Ethiopia. A pipeline of opportunities. That's why we have in Addis, we built our restaurant. My wife is down there right now, where we have a gorgeous restaurant, modern, actually the most modern restaurant of all my restaurants worldwide is the one in Addis, right? And it's very important to show the depths of our culture, but also figuring out how can the food of Africa be in regular stores here in the US, in the UK, so the normalization around our food becomes standard. So jollof is not just on us from the continent, but when a Portuguese family says, hey, let's have jollof tonight. When a German family says, the way we can say, hey, you know what, I just want to have a pasta carbonara tonight with the family.
Right.
The day when a Swedish family says, hey, let's cook some jollof, that's when we have arrived. And when we hold those pipeline, we create so many different jobs, and that's how we change the narrative about black cooking, African cooking, past, present, future.
Incredible.
Incredible. And I love that the restaurant in Addis is the most modern, like you say. I was in Addis, I could not even get a reservation, y'all.
Yeah.
I'm gonna need to talk to Marcus on the side just to get a reservation.
Yeah, no, but it also shows you how people want to support and come out, because dining at Marquis is not because you're hungry.
Right.
It's because of an experience. And I think through film content, through music, we've learned that it's not just about the music and the sound, it's the experience. Every time we give experiences, and we've always had that, our tribal experience, right? Those are routines that are our spiritual connection to food has always been there. So, you know, it's really about creating a pipeline so your generation sees hospitality as a way to really move forward and monetize it.
Okay.
Okay,
Mpumelelo, yes.
Mpumelelo, it's been a joy watching you break records and show superhuman African ability. For you, while you're out there and these big stages, what makes Africa unstoppable for you? Why do you do this that represents us so beautifully?
I think quite simply what makes Africa unstoppable is that while the rest of the world sees challenges and problems, we see opportunity. We are purpose-driven, community-led, and we know our value, and that's why we are here saying we're unstoppable and we're going to shape markets. There's two things that really came out of the 2 days for the convening that we had as GABI, which one was infrastructure. And when we speak infrastructure, too many times we speak about brick and mortar, but Africa is the biggest ecological intact ecosystems, and that is an infrastructure that is at our advantage that we can use as a solution going to the world. And as we reframe and rewrite our own history, we do it with the mindset of abundance and not of scarcity, where we look at the current world crises that are embedding us, whether it's climate change, biodiversity loss, pollution. Africa and the global south are already saying, here's a bioeconomy that tackles this in a circular economy so that the world can see more thriving youth, because the generation of today are the generation that are going to have to leave with the actions that we do as the individual that drive change.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Ms. Ava DuVernay, what a privilege to have you on this panel. Thank you so much for being here. What is the unstoppable narrative today? The single most powerful story that the world should know about Africa. What is it in your view?
Well, I think, hello, everyone.
Hello.
I'm a filmmaker, and so my job is to try to make people look good on camera. I don't think you all know how good you look. I don't, but you look good. It's beautiful to see this room, and this convening has been extraordinary, so my kudos to the organizers and to everyone who's participating. Am I the only African American on the panel? Wow, that's unfortunate. I think our single greatest story that has been untold is that we are one. And that what's most interesting to me is to look at, not to look at the things that folks have talked about have been exported or plundered from our homeland, from Africa, and our stories are included in that, but to look at the ways in which it is very simple for us to hold hands. Like, I enjoy watching the Jollof countries competition happen. But in America, in Latin America, and the Caribbean, African people who are in Europe and in Asia, the question is, how can we all feel like the one family that we are? We are a powerful black world if we only knew it. If we only knew that we are each other. And I believe that images, that filmmaking, along with music, along with food, is a part of our storytelling. But instead of exporting that story and thinking that our audience is outside of us, our audience is ourselves. And so those are the stories that I'm really interested in. It doesn't have to be one monolithic voice, one story. All of our stories are what is interesting to me. And so what I'm thinking about these days is how to put it in a place without borders where we can all participate and see each other's stories. Imagine a Blackflix, like a streamer that's not Netflix, but ours. Imagine spaces in the digital world that would be able to connect you from Las Vegas to Lagos to London. Imagine being able to get rid and erase the borders that were really designed to keep us separated. Those are the things that I believe make us unstoppable. And Africa is not only on the continent. Africa is worldwide, it's global.
And so if you had, Ava, a call to action for African storytellers today, what would it be to cement that narrative that you talk about?
My call to action to African storytellers, it's a beautiful question, and thank you for your moderation of this panel, both of you, is to work independently. We see now, and those of you who are not from here, and those of you who are from here, you cannot miss the news that's happening right now and what's going on in the world, especially in this country. Voices being silenced, certain stories being put on the sideline. The only way to combat that is to be independent, to have your own, not only story, but the way to connect the story to the audience, your own pathway, your own pipeline, so that they can't take you off the air. What air? It's my air. And so it's really about us building those systems together. That's what I'm very interested in. No one can tell Marcus that he can't cook what he wants to cook or serve what he wants to serve. It's his, right? And so not only do the stories need to be ours, but the pathway to the audience needs to be ours as well. That's what I'm most interested in.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Ava, for imagining a world of black unity, building that bridge between Africa and our diaspora here and across the world. It's beautiful. And a challenge for Folly and I, we got to tell our stories independently.
Yes.
You can still keep one foot in the, what is it, CNN? And
Al Jazeera.
Al Jazeera.
But you also have your own
It's
thing.
complicated.
Okay, I hear you.
Should
Go
we
for it.
ask Eliane maybe? We've got a few more minutes before we bring in our surprise guest. Eliane, as the youngest voice on this stage, what is your message to the leaders who are here? Prime Minister Motley, the Deputy Secretary General, the leaders who are here today to help you in your dream of making Africa unstoppable.
Thank you very much for that wonderful question. My message to the leaders of the world and of Africa and of everywhere else would be, what is your call to action? And what action, meaning what will you do to make sure that we make Unstoppable Africa have a pathway to the audience, as all of us have said and agreed with, but also have the power to sustain it. Because my generation will be inheriting Unstoppable Africa. We have to know how to, and we have to be able to. How will we do that? Through education. So my message to the leaders would be what action we'd be taking when you leave, not just for your country or for the people the power that you have over the people or over whatever place workplace, whatever it is, but what is your action for my generation and possibly for your children and for your grandchildren? That's the question, because you care about those people. The same care should be given for every other person in Africa, around the world, because we need to realize that Africa has always been the breadbasket of the world. We will continue to be, at all times. And as my generation inheriting Unstoppable Africa, we have to ensure that you guys are taking action, because we've talked and we've talked. It's time to take action. And I'll always deliver that. Action is the most important thing. Educating the youth and giving them the ability to become entrepreneurs. If it's chefing, if it's TikTok, if it's doing digital workplaces, if it's using AI, building infrastructure like Mr. Strive Masiwa, we can do that. We have the power to. But you have to enable us, because the power that you guys have can enable us to have those opportunities. But that'd be it. Take action and do it now. That's it.
Fantastic.
Tiwa, perhaps you want to add a few words, also your message to the leaders present here, to the women also of
Yes.
Africa.
I mean, just to piggyback on what Ava said, I love that about looking inwards because, you know, it's really important for me, again, I have to go back to my industry, when we almost try and get validation from the Western world. Like, even when you look at awards, and we always complain about we're not having a seat at the table, or like in the whole night, there's only one category for our whole continent. Mm-hmm. Why don't we build our own award system? You know, like, you know, K-pop is doing it, where, you know, they've built the industry and it's so big. Why don't we build our infrastructure? I don't think there's one artist that's ever had a tour around Africa. There's so many of us, like, if we look inward, like you said, I think that's the solution. I think we need to get the validation from ourselves, and we need to validate ourselves. Like my mom always says, no one's going to value you until you value yourself.
Right.
So that's what we need to do as Africans, I think.
Thank you so
You know,
much.
related to that, Tiwa, you mentioned that Afrobeats blew up. Sometimes people didn't believe in it, and there was not a lot of support yet. But now that it's blown up and people around the world are listening to it, how do we create similar industries in other parts of the continent? Ghanaian music, from Tanzania, from Botswana, from elsewhere, knowing what you know now and the building blocks that made it become this global phenomenon?
Again, it's like, you know, with Afrobeat, it was like, we were unstoppable. I mean, we were unstoppable within our market.
Right.
And then it started growing with the diasporas, and they started requesting it. So that's what I would say to East Africa and South Africa. Like, you have to look inward and grow it. And your people need to start making noise about it. You know, when you like, there's a party down the street and you're like, wait, what's going on? And you kind of feel like you're excluded from it.
Right.
And they're looking like they're having fun. They don't even care whether you're part of the party. That's what we kind of did. We were just building that industry, and we didn't even care what the rest of the world was thinking. But they were looking. And they say that, this is our moment. And I'm like, no, we are the moment. And we've been the moment. The world is just catching up.
I love that.
Thank you so much. So listen, ladies and gentlemen, we're now going to bring onto the stage the woman behind all of this, the reason why we're all here, the brains behind Unstoppable Africa, the Deputy Secretary General of the United Nations, Amina Mohammed, who's going to give her reflections. Please join us here, please.
Are you all right?
Get next to you. I'll sit down.
Ooh, no pressure. Right? This is not like it's the UN General Assembly and I read a speech, right? No, but I mean, let's say one thing that's unstoppable about Africans is the leadership that we've seen in this room in the last 2 days. It's been incredible. But as I go along this long stretch here, and it can go on forever because you all represent so much, Larry and Folly, you're the first of the Unstoppable Africans that started us off on this trail. And we would never have been able to communicate this if they were not the ones that were doing the interviewing. They were not the ones that were actually calling us and asking us the right questions because they're already there. But to bring it to us and to bring us out of where we are, I think has been amazing. So I just want to thank the both of you.
Thank you.
And you didn't stop there, you brought your own colleagues in. So I have to tell you, the highlight for me was when you had a journalist that was Portuguese, speaking Portuguese on the stage with the Portuguese president. Yeah. That was amazing. You'd have no idea how amazing that was because language matters.
Right.
On the continent, we have been French, we have been English, but ask how many of you really thought about the Portuguese part of us, even the Spanish. We didn't. And I think that, what we did was to find Africans who were as good as our two, leaders here, and you brought them out, and I think we need to do more of that, and, Angola is cool, Mozambique is cool, Cape Verde is cool. You need to go to Cape Verde. I mean, they're really rocking. So thank you so much. Anybody from Cape Verde in the audience? Okay, tomorrow. They left, they just left, okay. They were here. But let me just say that as I go along, and I'm going to, really start with Tiwa. Tiwa, you talked about the music, and I think you're absolutely right. We were doing our thing. I watched Global Citizen go to South Africa, and it was quite amazing because what we had there were presidents, many presidents, and when our rappers got up on the stage, they moved that stadium like you have never seen a stadium be moved. When they went up, everybody went up and went down, and the president of South Africa was sitting next to me, and he had an election. I said, you think that you could do that? You need to ask what skills they have. So, because that rapper was talking to the people. He was feeling, and the experiences, the lived experiences, were those that they engaged with. So, every one of us wanted to go on stage and say, hi there, and get a hi back. And it was like, hi there, and it was like, who is she? But when you go out on the stage, you connect. You're the influencers. When Burna Boy comes into the United Nations, he's going, oh, this is cool. And then he tweets it. Oh my God, the world follows. So you're able to take out and just communicate with the whole world. And right now, you're doing amazing stuff for Africa. You've been in the UN. People will talk about Africa for more than a day. But we've arrived. And so thank you for talking about, we're here and we're not going anywhere. Nigerians are not going anywhere. Ava, thank you for doing this because, I know that it was a stretch, and in a minute I've got a surprise. But it has been a joy to have you here. Let me, all truth be told, I have a daughter that holds this woman up like this in the sky. And, today she's just like, no, I can leave my babies behind and come see you. So you are Black American, African American, all the way out in Nigeria. There are young people who are looking to what you've done, stand up, be counted, and so humble. And I think that's very African too. You took that when you left all those years ago, and came back. But it is the innovation. You are second to none in your industry. and really scaling, and that really gives hope to people. Second to none, and you're still going, and it's amazing, and everyone thinks, well, if she can do it, we can do it. That's what you want people to say about you. If, Folly can do it, I can do it. If Larry can do it, I can do it. And what you've been able to say to our young people in Africa, 1.3 billion is our market, and we've got so much more that we can target. Thank you. Thank you for what you do and what you will do. And so, the man who wants to try to diss Nigerian jollof. Okay, well, I know that you're not going to find an alternative for amala. Try that one.
And so it begins.
But what you had said about, pasta, it's true. If people could say, let's have jollof tonight, let's have amala. If we became a menu on everyone's kitchen table, dining table, what does food do? It brings you together. I mean, we were all told when we were kids that, when you get married, the quickest way to your husband's heart is if the food. So it is the quickest way to everyone's heart. It's where you have a meal, you break bread, you are with people, and you're communicating better. And this world is too far apart. Yeah. The trust deficit, the moral compass that we've lost in many places. Perhaps if we were able to sit around that table in all our diversity that's so rich, with the food that's even richer, I think then we would be a better world. And so, keep doing that because it really matters. We do it in Africa all the time, and we just need to take it to the world, and you're doing that, and it's fantastic. Yesterday's meal was unbelievable. It was the coolest surf and turf I've ever seen.
Right?
And
you know where Africa can be leading? In food tech.
Yes.
And that's a food safety, and that's going to be needed. There's so many startups around food tech that starts in Africa. And 10 years from now, I can tell you, Africa will be a leading place in terms of food tech, and it will transform poverty. It will change the dialogue in a very different way.
Yeah. The narrative for nutrition in this world, if you really look at it today, it's beginning to become African. They're talking about the millet, they're talking about the teff, so we're all going back to what we all ate and what we somehow, we lost our food. And now it has to come back. It has affected health. We are wondering what is happening to us and why we have so many diseases. If we just go back to what we had before and make it palatable, make it the cool food, then I think, we will be a long way away from where we are today. So, you saw the space, you've taken it up, and you're not giving it up for anyone. What an amazing young voice. And Larry, you're right. The future is cool, and I can retire happily. I'm not going to, but I can. But at least I can shift. What is the story of Africa? We are just too old in leadership. And we need to have an intergenerational conversation about that. One that, yes, we are deeply respectful, our traditions are, and don't lose that, because once you do, you lost your roots. Keep that with you. It has actually come across the seas. I see that here with our African American sisters and brothers. It's very much here. Don't lose it. Don't lose your faith. Faith comes in many, many different pathways. It keeps you grounded. And what I do see is that, we just need to move, not even to the side, but get behind you. There ain't nothing wrong with that, because what you need is someone's got your back. And we've been there, we've done it. Now it's your energy, your vision, and it is a circle of life that in Africa is amazing. Because when we do that together. We don't leave anyone behind. Not old people, not young people, not kids. We lost it somewhere. Maybe it was in the curriculum. Maybe it was in the framing of democracy. Who knows? We lost it somewhere. Now we're getting it back because you're claiming it. There is nothing that you can't have in Africa that is in New York. You can bring whatever it is that we crave as development in the world in our countries. And why do I know that? So many young people are going home. That wasn't the case before. And they are seeing 1.3 billion people market. Yes, we're frustrated by infrastructure and our governments and, democracy sometimes that doesn't work too well. But there's almost we'll put you to one side because the market is taking us somewhere else, and you're filling that space, and it is your voice that I think gives courage, because that's what's needed, to speak out. And it's not speak against, it's speak out and bring people with you. So thank you for being that energy and the vision for today and tomorrow. What can I say? What did you say about, talk about our abundance and not our scarcity? That for me was very powerful, because that's what we are. We are big, we are loud, we are cool. We have enough food to confuse everybody. Our fashion confuses everybody as well. Which one do you want to touch? And our fashion is really cool. Ask us in Nigeria. You know, we started the fashion in Nigeria. Others brought the West into it, but they didn't change our fashion. They didn't change our color. When I first came to the UN, it was always about, when are you going to wear our clothes? And it's like, these are my clothes. And they're bright. We're bright. Sometimes you come in and that you know they think you're too bright, right? You know. Isn't that colorful? Yes, it's really colorful. But that's because that's what we wear. And sometimes when we're not able to face the day because things are tough where we come from, we wear the color. Because all the time, what you get on the outside is what draws you to smile, to think it's going to be all right. And color does that to you. And I think that that's what we should be doing. And for you, talking about our abundance is just that in every facet. And so keep doing that, keep encouraging us. When we hear it from you, we're reminded. And so my reflections really were that we truly are unstoppable. Somebody used the word today in the UN, and I thought, you just took our word. But it is what we are living. I have never seen so many leaders, as I said, in one place, but the confidence, the strut, the African strut, your shoulders are back. I mean, we always told that, put your shoulders back, you're straight back. We don't need chairs to prop us up. We sit on the stool and we sit on it with pride. And I think what I've seen in this last couple of days is an enormous amount of it just here. But hold it, because I got a surprise too.
Oh.
So, yeah, we are always standing on someone's shoulders, and that's really important because that's the way we grow. That's the way our countries grow, and we all have to fight for that. And there's not many a curriculum that has taught us about nation building. It's taught us that it's better on the other side, it's greener on the other side, and once you get a chance to leave. But in fact, now we're proving that this is it. One of the persons that proved this to me, and you said, Eva, oh, it's a shame I'm the only African American here. Well, this woman, when I first met her, finished listening to her speak in the UN, I thought, ooh, if everybody could speak like that, we would change the way we approach the United Nations Charter and we, the people. And so today, I really want to have up on stage a sister that has given me lots of courage and inspiration and taught me how to speak from the phone. I don't do it, I'm still a little bit nervous, but she tried it on us from a board, taught us that what comes out, you said diamonds. There are these diamonds in the Caribbean. And when you see they're in the rough and there is someone there saying to us, you have no idea what shine is and I'm going to show you. So please help me welcome Prime Minister, you wish you were President, Prime Minister Mia Mottley to the stage.
Yes. The perfect surprise, I see. Yes.
So this is a surprise for Eva.
Oh, we have a mic.
And that's absolutely true. We are one. We just have to find it a little. And I think we have begun to do that. This is a few years. Thank you to Sandra and the team. I know that you say nice things about me on stage, but really I've been pretty horrible to get this done.
I think let's try this one.
I must take this one. So they didn't hear me. Sandra's been amazing, and so has her team. And thank you for the kind words, but I have to say they put up with a lot. But the reflections I really wanted to hear as one, and I know that yesterday we talked about Ben Orama and Afri-Exim. The as one means what, and what you've heard from R1. Your reflections, Mia.
Thank you. Amina, I just really want to thank you because you've been the energy behind this GABI event every year. And in fact, I call you the glue. So really thank you, and thank all who have helped to make it happen and to make it a success and to send a message that Africa is unstoppable. And like you've heard from everyone here, this is not a trial run. This is the real deal. And the world is already responding. Marcus, you said it brilliantly. Why do our people want to eat macaroni and pasta and don't want to eat jollof or roti or kuku? And we're coming in from the Caribbean because we believe our experience is just as valid. And when you really study it, whether it is the spirit of the Maroons or the spirit of Toussaint Louverture, for which the Haitians are still paying, or the Battle of Adwa, which signaled a completely different world for Pan-Africans, or whether it is the fact that we have found through religions and spirituality, through Ubuntu, through Rastafari, through all other kinds of things that center and wellness, or whether it is simply in our flair, in how we move, in how we talk, in how we eat, in how we do everything. There is something special about us. And while proximity may not be ours because we are global Africa, purpose is ours. And if we have a singular purpose, which is to reverse centuries of language being remade, to reverse centuries of humanity being denied, we have the ability to shape it. And you said it well, we don't need somebody else's awards or anything like that to validate us. And Eva, you're absolutely correct. If we don't, as I've been saying, control the pathways, the conduits, then we are simply going to be a victim of someone else's moods and someone else's power. And we have a duty. We have the numbers, we have the wealth, we have the creativity, but above all else, we have the humanity. And that is what makes us different. We care. We see each other, we feel each other, we hear each other. And because we know what it is to have been on the other side, to be divided, to be abused, to be the subject of everything that denigrates us, we know why we must not repeat it, because as we say in Barbados, two wrongs don't make a right. And quite simply, I believe that this expression of unity, this expression of boldness, of wanting to take on the world is what we need now. We're never going to have everybody. Let us start with what we have and let us keep on this road, because together no one can stop us. I said in Algeria 2 weeks ago, if I were to segregate India according to ethnicities or languages, it wouldn't be 1.4 billion people. If we were to do the same with China, it wouldn't be 1.4 billion people. What will it take for us to recognize the power of Africa is in the oneness of Africa, whether politically, spiritually, or otherwise? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mia. Thank you. So there we go. That's our oneness. But as we come to close, am I?
Yes.
Can I close?
Go for
it.
Take over.
It has been fantastic, but it would be remiss of us also to know that in this audience we have some amazing partners, people who believe also in Africa, people who have sat through this, and I've seen them in the last couple of days. So to our brother from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, I just want to say thank you very much for being with us all the way. And it's those partners that we have to keep, because I think Tiwa said, this is beyond Africa. Africa is the core, that is our oyster, as it were, and I always say Nigeria is the pearl, but okay, we have 54 pearls.
Let's say Caribbean, Amina.
You know?
We have a bit of almost every part of Africa.
Okay, I give up. Now let me come back and be the United Nations. So look, on behalf of the UN, we wouldn't have had this opportunity if not for that incredible global town hall. It is called the United Nations. I do have the honor to serve as the Deputy Secretary General. I am the second African. The other was a woman as well, Aisha Rose Magiru from Tanzania. So please, let's remember her, because I'm standing on her shoulders. But this space that was created, whenever you get space, and we say that as women, occupy. If somebody says speak, don't say, no, it's okay. Speak. Even if you've got nothing to say, speak. That space you must occupy. We occupied this space, and Strive and many of his friends said to me, okay, so what is it that you're going to do that's going to leave behind that footprint? Not yours, Africa. And I was fortunate enough to have a sister, Sanda, who is in the UN Global Compact, leading that really well. And we came up with, okay, this is what we're going to do. Create this space. When the world comes together, Africa shouldn't just be invited to every occasion, but we should have our own space and people come here and want to get through the door. And let me tell you, for the first time after, is it 3-4 years, we are oversubscribed by 3.5 times, something like that, which is amazing because it's you spreading the word. It's you taking the opportunity that when the world comes to town, and there are 160 heads of state and government in this town this week, we take profit from it. But we take profit from it because we have a space to remind ourselves that this is who we are. It is our narrative, on our terms, that we go forth. And so when people come to our space or when we go to other spaces, we go in there as Africa. Africa is our incredible number of countries and all their diversity. Let's try to keep Africa one, because I think that that's where the challenges that will come. When people say we're resilient, they've got a different definition to resilience than we have. Ours is about jobs and markets and investments. It is not about charity. It is not about defining that we're resilient because we survived another heat wave. So our resilience is about how we build on what we have and that we strengthen our markets, our economies, our social contract with people, our democracies, and I believe that the values and principles that we all hold are important. Strong institutions, because my brother from Saudi Arabia is not going to come if we don't have strong institutions and an enabling environment. And I know they're already there, but what we want is we want them there as much as they are anywhere else in the world. And so with the UN, we convene. And we've convened GABI. And my one ask of you as we go through this last year on our mandate is that you make this sustainable. That you demand this space because now you have it, you hold on to it, you fertilize it, and you make it work for Africa in the United Nations. And it is because the bloc in Africa, all the resolutions that we have that matter, the Sustainable Development Goals, Africa's watch. The recent Pact for the Future, not for Africa, we wouldn't have got across the line. So we are not just recipients, we're also shareholders in the United Nations. And so this space is yours. It's yours because you have a right to ask for a convening, and that's what this does. And I'm so pleased that you've made it work and you've made it grow, and I hope that we can do so much more. So we have big day tomorrow, because that's when our General Assembly starts, and a few more days that will determine how much rougher it gets. I think that we need to find a reason to say this town hall called the United Nations matters. It shines a light on issues that wouldn't otherwise be shined. It's not going to solve your problem overnight. It's not going to pay for your development. We're going to pay for our own development, but it is going to call out what is unequal, call out what is not just, call out that you have financial systems that don't work. And by doing that, today we didn't do it yesterday, we're doing it today. People are moving. If I tell you the number of constituencies who would not have heard us 10 years ago and now are coming to the table, I think this is a credit to you, credit that we have been able to put a voice on the table. Mia has joined us in many an argument for the case of financing development, and it has come from the climate crisis, but she's been able to do it in a way that's put faces and an economy behind it. It was not just about a small island state. No, these are people who have a right, like anyone else, to live a life of dignity. So I'm not going on much more because I've got really funky people behind me, and I just want to be cool like them. And so with that, I'm just going to say thank you, Unstoppable Africans, and come back next week. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much,
DSG.
Thank you, everyone. This is what Unstoppable Africa is. Don't go anywhere, because in just a few minutes, we have an amazing performance by Tiwa Savage.
Yes.
So thank you all once again. Let's get ready for Tiwa Savage, shall we?
So she's just going to take a few minutes to get ready, and we'll reset the stage. Get your dancing shoes on, and we'll get this started in like 3 minutes. Well, maybe 5 minutes. You all ready? Awesome.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you. Always here for you.